Jack Ma and Ratan Tata are among his investors. Think of his company and everyone's only talking billions of dollars. And of course, there's now the Indian cricket that's also come into play. We're just a privilege this evening to be joined by Vijay Sharma, the founder of Paytm. There are lakhs of Indians who are familiar with Paytm, and from every interview of yours that I read, you promise that jo nahi familiar hai, I promise to get them on board soon. So now into cricket.
Yes.
For someone who's supposed to get a high from adventure sports, why cricket and not rafting, for instance?
Well, I think, like you said, someone who is passionate to get every Indian on the platform.
Yeah,
I think our aspiration is to bring 500 million Indians on Paytm platform by 2020. And when you look at such large number, then you give up on the niche sectors like rafting, adventure sports. You look at mainstream. And I think this country's mainstream sports is cricket. And I personally admire sportsmen. I personally admire athletes. And I can say that that is how our brand emphasizes our team spirit, perseverance, persistence, and passion. So I think these things work for the sports. So lucky to have Indian cricket on our side.
Right. All those who didn't know Paytm just are now not going to miss it on the jerseys for sure now. Now tell me one thing. You said at one point that you dreamt of being a Sabir Bhatia. Now, if you were to meet Sabir Bhatia today, I mean, what do you think you would say to him?
I think I remember this is in early college days. I'm talking about, I was lucky to have internet access in 1994 and built a company in 96, 97, sold it in 98, 99. And those days, there was one Indian who built it, and there was Sabir Bhatia. Surprise, 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 Sabir Bhatia wrote me an email.
Oh, wonderful.
For help.
I see. Oh, Jesus.
And I took time to reply it, considering that it was it was happening to me.
I see.
And the best part was that he still uses Hotmail email address.
Oh, wonderful. I would imagine for him it would be difficult to let go of.
Yes.
You know, your story is really incredible. You finished school when you were 13, you were in college when you were 15. How do you believe those years, and coming from small town India and then moving to Delhi, how do you believe those years shaped you into what you are today?
The best part about coming from small town, I come from Aligarh, and my background is not from any kind of family where there was business. Business used to be treated as black sheep in the family. I mean, I was not part of what my family traditionally does, education and doctors and so on. So I think what I learned in those days was that how strong fundamental values will take you longer journey. Longevity of your existence, the history books are written for those who play long. So I learned to play long, I learned to have patience, a lot of it. And I'd say that even if ideas can create, I think values are the one who protect. So I learned that.
You know, this is all very heartwarming stuff. Also, when you say that when you got a job, you know, eventually you just wanted a job, 10,000 rupees is what you had to earn. You had to send some money home. You'd committed that your mother would get some money. When you finally got your first salary, you got her a couple of saris, you got a TV for the house. So there are all those young Indians who are watching who can identify with this and who want to perhaps script the next Vijay Shekhar story. What would you say to them besides hard work? What has it taken to get where you are?
I think as soon as I start remembering, I get numb in my mind. And I think, yeah, I've been lucky, I'd say that. I believe that there is larger cause and larger God upstairs who's deciding what we are supposed to do. I find myself incredibly lucky, I'd say that. And the only thing that I'll tell anybody who's trying to embark on a journey, it doesn't matter if you come from a small town or a big town, it doesn't truly matter actually, first of all. What I have learned that what your weaknesses are, they become the best of the strengths actually. So you should play on your weaknesses, that they become your strength in the game, so that you're never fearing them. And whatever your less is actually a lot for you. And it takes a lot to discover your mathematics in life that you can play on those strengths. But I believe that human mind can solve any problem and you can get output of anything. One thing that I see a lot of entrepreneurs and early stage people, when I meet them, they're not fully sincere towards the purpose that they are at. I think if you are sincere and you are all in and no out, it'll happen. I think the all in and no out is the choice. There were times in my life when I didn't really have a lot of money, including some things that you talked about. I had days when I didn't have money for dinner, let's say.
Right, the 10 rupee story.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, having 2 cups of tea was a perk for me, and I had 10 rupees, so I walked from Priya Cinema to Kashmiri Gate. I couldn't take the bus so that I can live the next day. Yes, those things exist. So what I can say is that when you are sincerely committed, things happen. These 2 words, sincerity and commitment are the key words.
Right. When you talk about a weakness, would it be fair to say that when you moved to Delhi, the sort of not comfortable with the English language would be considered a weakness? Because sitting opposite you, one would never sort of figure that at all.
Yeah, I think when I came in Delhi city, I was in engineering college, and my college incidentally was English medium. So till my class 12th, I studied in Hindi medium school. So I wouldn't even know that parallel plate capacitor is called Samantar Pat Sandharitra, because I would know it as Samantar Pat Sandharitra, and so on and so forth. All these physics terms, which are totally technical terms, you don't in everyday casual conversation even know what it is.
Absolutely.
So I think we underestimate the power of need of English. I think when you're talking to people in engineering college, they don't even understand necessarily this language, and the classroom is not even teaching you in Hindi. So yes, it was Tare Zameen Par movement for me when the alphabets were flying. And
was it actually that bad that you're not being able to follow lectures? Because you said that you used to sit in the front benches, and then you noticed that the front benches were constantly being questioned in English, and then you had to move back.
So I was an early teenager. I was 15 years in my classroom. The youngest
anyway in your class. Yeah.
And the teacher is asking me something, and I am standing and I'm not even understanding a question. And it was not a tourist situation that you're talking, which I see a lot now. But I can tell you, it becomes embarrassing, and for a teenager to get embarrassed in a classroom of engineering college in the company of so incredible people around, it started to put me under typical underdog movement for me. Started to build that I became from a front bencher to the back bencher to the out of class. I actually wouldn't attend class
because of this.
Because of this, and it was a very horrible, emotional, tough day, tough bit for me, because I would try asking people what does it mean, and I don't even know whom to ask for it, because from UP board that I come from, there was only one more student, and that guy was English medium too. So it was totally no man's land. And truly speaking, one point of time I was thinking that I should give up on this. I should go back a year and get my graduation in a language that I can understand. But I think, again, I had a single mission that there is no way out. This is the only one way. We move east. We move east.
Right, yeah. And so you're of course self-taught. You went through magazines and dictionaries. You learned the language through dictionaries.
Yeah, it was a very funny thing. So when I go to people, meet people from a similar background, I would ask them, how would you learn English? How did you learn English? And they said that first enhance your vocabulary. I said, how do I enhance vocabulary? Should I start reading dictionary? Is the vocabulary? Then they said, no, start reading newspaper and see the words that are coming in newspaper. So I would have a notepad which will note the words that are coming in newspaper, and then I'll try reading them in the dictionary. Next day I'll try making sense of what was talked, and the words would repeat. And then it went to another level. Actually.
Wow. And there's of course another very nice story when you picked up these magazines, and when you sort of, besides Fortune 500, when you sort of also figured Silicon Valley, and you wanted to take the GMAT or TOEFL or whatever else, the exam, to go there. Your peers were doing it, your colleagues were doing it, and you couldn't do it, and you thought to yourself, one day I'm going to hire these people who've come back. I mean, how much of this is now urban legend around the man called Vijay Shekhar Sharma, and how much of it is actually them?
Yeah, I definitely wanted to be one of them, and I said one day I'll at least be able to bring them on my team, and I'll work together. So I think I'm lucky, and I'm fortunate that today some of those institutes have incredible amount of people who join us from there.
I just want to briefly go back to our conversation around English. Now, the IITs are going through a phase where there are many students coming from small town India now who are saying things like this has become an elite institution. The fact that we are coming to the IITs and we are not familiar with the English language is against us. As someone who's been there, done that, not at the IITs, but another top engineering institution, how would you sort of see this?
I'm totally surprised when I see people today who are from McKinsey and who are from Accenture, and I'm or from international places they're working, and I'm interviewing them, and they tell me their stories, that how they went to IIT and they learnt the gap of English versus Hindi or English versus their native language. Truth of matter is that I think this country sort of has a split. Haves have English, have-nots have their language. So this is split. And for a young student, when he reaches such institute, it is extraordinary. it is extraordinarily challenging. But somehow I have a respect for people who reach there, and then because they reach there is a reason that they will be successful forward. And language is one of those inherent cognizance skill of yours that you learn over the period. So learning 2 languages and then changing your translation, way you speak, you have to think in English now, otherwise you translate and speak. I mean, I'd say that I have a lot of respect for people, and I'm so proud to say a lot of people at my place, I hear their stories, they might not know this happened to me, I immediately on the spot hire them.
Oh really?
I just say that you come from that, you cross that, I hats off to you.
Right.
So I think the truth is that IITs are for haves versus have-nots.
I see. Well, given a chance, would you say that Indian schools, as far as possible, should make sort of learning English at some level mandatory, that you should have a basic knowledge, that when people like yourself are coming out early on, they have at least a basic equipped knowledge to go on, and then they can build on that. They're not having to sort of start from scratch and move to the backbenches.
Now,
or is that even possible?
So what I learned is that we become inferior when we do not know English. Well, when you travel the world, then you know that Chinese don't even speak English. World has to understand their language.
Right.
Japanese don't even want to translate in English. World has to learn their language. German, French, they don't even like English. You have to learn their language. The point is that I think our understanding of English is an asset, and we become a lot more global citizen. There is no doubt about it. There is a value to that. But at the same point in time, we shouldn't demean our languages.
Sure.
I think there should be sense of pride that we are Hindi, we are Tamilian, we are Indian, and we use our language. I don't think there is much or less that you can do. It's a choice that we want to be known for our language versus we are ready to accept the world's language.
Right. But you know, your English to say have conversations about investment with say like a Jack Ma, what would have been your common language if it weren't English?
So I believe that English is that world language, and I think that people who need to grow after a certain point need English as a language. There is no doubt about it. I think English is necessity, so to say now.
Right.